For the past 7 years, I have been managing supply logistics for 3 different grocery chains across the Midwest. I have watched panic buying waves hit 6 different times. And here is what I learned. The stuff that disappears first is almost never the smartest thing to buy. While everyone is fighting over freeze-dried meals and 5-gallon rice buckets, I quietly stock items that cost half as much, last just as long, and are still sitting on shelves when everything else is gone. Number 9 is at your local Asian grocery right now for under $4 and has more protein per pound than beef. The problem is that when everyone reads the same prepper blogs and buys the same stuff, that is exactly what vanishes first. Back in early 2020, I watched the pasta aisle get cleared in 2 hours, but the bulk aisle 3 aisles over, fully stocked for another week. Today I am walking you through 11 survival foods that preppers are paying double for right now, items that are about to vanish when the next wave hits, and the smarter alternatives nobody is talking about. If you want to stop overpaying and start actually preparing smart, hit that subscribe button right now, because this information does not stay hidden for long. Let's start with number 1. This one is going to sound boring, but it is absolute gold. Bullion cubes. Not the freeze-dried meals. Not the fancy survival soup packs. Bullion cubes. Before you roll your eyes thinking this is too simple, hear me out. A single jar of bouillon cubes contains enough flavor and salt to turn 50 meals into something your family will actually eat. Most preppers ignore these because they are not marketed as survival food. That is exactly why they are always in stock. Last winter, during a power outage that lasted 9 days, here is what happened in my house. We had rice, we had beans, we had canned vegetables, all smart prep staples. But by day 4, my kids were refusing to eat because everything tasted the same. Food monotony is real. Boring food makes you stop eating even when you're hungry. I pulled out a jar of chicken bouillon, mixed 2 cubes into a pot of rice while it was cooking, and suddenly dinner was edible again. It cost me 98 cents for a jar that has lasted me 8 months. Meanwhile, preppers are dropping $30 on a single pack of freeze-dried stroganoff that tastes like cardboard. Here is what I do. I keep 4 jars in rotation. Chicken, beef, vegetable, and ham. You dissolve 1 cube in 2 cups of hot water, pour it over rice or pasta, and you've got a meal that actually has flavor. A 12-ounce jar costs about $3 and gives you roughly 60 servings. Nobody fights over bouillon cubes during a shortage. That is exactly why you want them. Look, food prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with, and the prepper market is full of overpriced junk that does not deliver. I have done the math for you and put together a free emergency pantry blueprint that lists the exact 17 items you need to keep, all of which you can buy from any grocery store. It can feed your family for 3 weeks and cost less than 2 trips to a sit-down restaurant. You can grab it for free at the link in the description so you can stop worrying about the next supply chain disruption and start actually prepping smart. Number 2, nutritional yeast. Before you click away thinking this is vegan hippie food, stay with me. Nutritional yeast is a complete protein. It is loaded with B vitamins and has a shelf life of over 2 years even after you open it. Just 2 tablespoons give you 9 grams of protein and a full day's worth of B12. Most people have no idea this exists. That is your advantage. 3 years ago, I bought a 1-pound bag for $8 at a health food store. I still have half of it left. I use it to make cheese sauce without dairy. I sprinkle it on popcorn, and I mix it into scrambled eggs. It adds a savory, almost cheesy flavor to anything bland. When everyone else is buying protein powder that costs $60 a tub and tastes like chalk, nutritional yeast costs a fraction of that and actually improves the taste of food. Here's an insider fact nobody talks about. It is shelf-stable because it is already dead yeast. It has been deactivated. That means it does not go rancid like nuts or seeds. A 1-pound bag gives you about 40 servings. That is 20 cents per serving of complete protein. During the last shortage wave, I watched protein powders sell out in 3 days. Nutritional yeast, still fully stocked 2 weeks later. It is sitting in the bulk section or the health aisle right now. Most preppers have never even heard of it. Number 3 is something you have probably walked past 100 times. Dried lentils. Not canned, dried. Here is why this matters. A 1-pound bag of dried lentils costs about $1.50, and gives you 13 servings. Canned lentils cost 3 times as much and take up way more space. Dried lentils last 30 years if you store them in a sealed container with an oxygen absorber. I have got bags in my pantry that are 4 years old. Still perfect. Lentils cook in 20 minutes with no soaking. That is faster than dried beans. They have 18 grams of protein per cup, and they are loaded with iron and fiber. Here is what happened last year during a winter storm that knocked out power for 6 days. I had a camping stove and a pot of water. I cooked lentils with some bouillon cubes and canned tomatoes. It was warm, filling, and my kids actually ate it without complaining. Total cost per meal? About 70 cents. Compare that to freeze-dried camping meals that cost $9 per pouch and taste like salty mush. The reason lentils survive every shortage is because most people do not know how to cook them. They think lentils are complicated. They are not. You rinse them, you boil them for 20 minutes, you season them. That is it. Right now you can buy a 10-pound bag at any Indian or Middle Eastern grocery for under $12. That is 130 servings. And while preppers are panic buying rice, lentils are sitting there ignored. Number 4, miso paste. This one sounds strange, but it is a game changer. Miso is fermented soybean paste, used in Japan for over 1,000 years because it lasts forever and is packed with probiotics. An unopened container lasts a full year. Once opened and kept in the fridge, it lasts another year. But here's the secret. Even without refrigeration, miso stays safe for months. The salt and fermentation process protect it naturally. A single tablespoon dissolved in hot water makes instant soup. Add dried seaweed, green onions, or a few grains of rice, and you have a meal in 2 minutes. 1-pound tubs cost around $6 at most Asian markets. That tub gives roughly 30 servings, about 20 cents per meal. Beyond flavor, miso is one of the only shelf-stable sources of probiotics. It supports gut health, which is critical when fresh food is scarce. Last summer, I had a stomach bug and could not keep anything down. I made miso soup with just hot water and miso paste. It settled my stomach, provided sodium, and gave me nutrients without feeling heavy. Here's a strategic advantage. Most preppers ignore miso because it isn't on any survival list. It's not flashy. It's not marketed as prepper food, and that means it's quietly available when other items vanish. Miso is cheap, shelf-stable, nutrient-rich, and versatile. It transforms bland, limited ingredients into satisfying meals and provides probiotics to keep your gut and your immune system strong during crises. It's one of those overlooked pantry staples that can quietly save the day. Number 5, coconut milk powder. This one is sitting in the international aisle right now, and almost nobody touches it. I'm not talking about canned coconut milk. You know, the stuff that goes bad once opened. I'm talking about the powder. Here's why it's brilliant. A can of coconut milk costs about $2, and once opened, you have to use it all quickly or risk spoilage. Coconut milk powder, on the other hand, costs about $12 for a 1-pound bag and makes the equivalent of 16 cans. 2 tablespoons of powder mixed with water gives you a cup of fresh coconut milk. Shelf life? Years in the pantry. No refrigeration required. Fat is survival fuel. Your body doesn't just want fat. It needs it. Fat is essential for brain function, hormone production, and absorbing fat-soluble vitamins. Most long-term survival foods are low-fat or fat-free because fat goes rancid. Coconut milk powder solves that problem. It's high in medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, which your body can use for quick energy, and it's shelf-stable. I use it in coffee, soups, rice dishes, even scrambled eggs. 2 years ago, during a 3-week supply chain delay, fresh dairy was impossible to find. Coconut milk powder kept my meals rich, creamy, and satisfying. Oatmeal, mashed potatoes, scrambled eggs, it all worked perfectly. Cost efficiency is insane. 1 pound makes 16 cups of coconut milk. That's about 75 cents per cup. Compare that to freeze-dried butter powder, which costs $30 for a tiny can. Coconut milk powder is cheaper, healthier, versatile, and completely overlooked. Strategic advantage? It sits in the international aisle, not the prepper section. Stores restock it because it's ethnic cuisine, not survival food. That means during shortages, it's quietly available while other fats vanish. Shelf-stable, nutrient-dense, high in healthy fat, and inexpensive. Coconut milk powder is exactly the kind of overlooked pantry staple that keeps you fed, energized, and nourished when other options disappear. Stock it now, rotate naturally, and use it often. Your future self will thank you. Number 6. Dried seaweed sheets, nori. Yes, the same nori used to wrap sushi, and yes, I know it sounds weird if you're not used to it, but hear me out. One sheet of nori contains more iodine than most people get in an entire week. Iodine is critical for thyroid function. If you're surviving on shelf-stable staples for weeks, chances are you're not getting nearly enough. Dried seaweed fixes that effortlessly. Shelf life is extraordinary. Kept dry, nori lasts indefinitely. I opened a package last year that I had purchased 3 years earlier. It tasted exactly the same. No degradation, no spoilage, no loss of nutrients. Cost is shockingly low. A pack of 50 sheets runs about $7 at most Asian markets. That's just 14 cents per sheet. Compare that to most supplements or fortified foods. It's a bargain for one of the densest nutrient sources you can get. Nutritionally, it's a powerhouse. Nori is loaded with vitamins A, C, E, K, and B12, along with minerals like iodine, calcium, and magnesium. During long-term rationing, micronutrient deficiencies hit faster than calorie shortages. Seaweed helps fill those gaps in a way almost nothing else can. Use it in multiple ways. Eat it plain as a snack. Crumble into soups or scrambled eggs for a subtle umami and massive micronutrient boost. Wrap it around rice or leftovers to create quick, portable meals. It's lightweight, compact, and versatile. Here's why it's prepper-proof. Most people ignore it. It doesn't fit the classic beans and rice narrative. It isn't flashy or marketed as survival food. That means when panic buying hits, nori is still sitting on shelves while rice, beans, and canned goods vanish. I keep 3 packs in a sealed container with a silica packet for extra protection. Every few weeks, I crumble a sheet into whatever I'm cooking. The boost is subtle, but the health impact is huge. Cheap, shelf-stable, nutrient-dense, and largely ignored. Dried seaweed is a hidden gem in any prepper pantry. When shortages hit and everyone else is scrambling, the smart preppers will already have this simple, reliable source of essential micronutrients. Number 7. Masa harina. This one blew my mind when I realized its potential. Masa harina is corn flour treated with lime. Yes, that same flour used to make tortillas and tamales. A 4-pound bag costs about $4 and makes roughly 80 tortillas. That's a survival food bargain most people completely overlook. Here's why masa harina is smarter than regular flour. Regular flour needs yeast or baking powder to rise. Masa harina does not. You mix it with water and a pinch of salt, press it flat, and cook it on a hot pan. No oven, no rising time. 3 ingredients. That's it. Simple, fast, and reliable. During a 2-week power outage, I made fresh tortillas every other day on a cast iron skillet over a camping stove. My kids thought it was fun. I knew it was keeping them fed. Each tortilla cost about 5 cents to make. Compare that to store-bought tortillas. For $10 and they mold in a week. Shelf life is exceptional. Masa harina lasts over a year in a sealed container. The lime treatment isn't just for flavor. It unlocks niacin, which prevents pellagra and makes the corn more nutritious. This is ancient food science baked into a simple pantry staple. Here's a strategic edge. Almost nobody buys it during shortages because they don't know what it is. While other breads, flours, and tortillas vanish, masa harina sits on the shelf quietly, ready for anyone who knows its value. You can find it in any grocery store with a Hispanic or international section. 4-pound bag for $80 servings. Flatbread is one of the oldest survival foods on the planet, and masa harina is a modern way to make it fast, cheap, and reliable. Cheap, shelf-stable, nutrient-smart, and overlooked. Masa harina deserve a spot in every prepper pantry. Number 8. Dried mushrooms. This is a staple in every Asian household, yet almost no American prepper has it on their radar. Shiitake with ear porcini, whatever variety you can find, it's worth stocking. Dried mushrooms. last for years, and they bring an insane amount of umami flavor to otherwise bland meals. A 2-ounce bag costs around $6 and rehydrates into roughly 2 pounds of mushrooms. Soak them in warm water for 20 minutes, and they're ready to use. Don't pour out the soaking water. This becomes rich mushroom broth, perfect as a soup base or flavor enhancer. Nothing goes to waste. I bought a bag of dried shiitake mushrooms 4 years ago. I've used half, and the rest remains perfect. No spoilage, no loss of flavor. Mushrooms aren't just tasty. They're one of the few plant-based sources of vitamin D. They also pack selenium and antioxidants, making them nutritionally valuable during long-term rationing. The culinary advantage is enormous. When you're eating rice and beans every day, a handful of rehydrated mushrooms transforms your meal from monotonous to satisfying. Last fall, I made a soup with rice, dried mushrooms, miso paste, and seaweed. Cost per serving? About 50 cents. Taste? Far better than anything I could buy freeze-dried. Here's why they survive shortages. Most people see dried mushrooms as fancy cooking ingredients, not survival food. Stores keep them stocked because they're niche, not essential. That's your edge. While freeze-dried meals, bouillon, and canned goods vanish, dried mushrooms sit quietly on the shelf. Cheap, lightweight, shelf-stable, nutrient-dense, and flavor-packed. Dried mushrooms turn basic ingredients into real, satisfying meals. That's exactly why they belong in every prepper pantry. Number 9. Dried chickpeas. Here it is, not canned, not pre-cooked. Dried chickpeas. A 1-pound bag costs about $1.20 and gives roughly 11 servings. That's an insane value for protein and fiber. Chickpeas have about 15 grams of protein per cup, tons of fiber, and incredible versatility. Roast them for a snack, mash them into hummus, cook them into stews, or even grind them into flour. Shelf life is remarkable. Properly stored in airtight containers in a cool, dry pantry, dried chickpeas last decades. I have jars from 5 years ago. Still perfect. Still usable. Compare that to meat. A pound of ground beef costs around $5 and provides 4 servings. A pound of dried chickpeas costs $1.20 and yields 11 servings. Protein per dollar? Chickpeas win, hands down. Yes, they take longer to prepare than lentils. You'll need to soak them overnight or use a pressure cooker. But if you have even a basic pot and patience, the payoff is unbeatable. Here's a strategic advantage. During shortages, can chickpeas sell out fast? People don't want to soak, they don't want to wait. Dried chickpeas? Fully stocked for weeks, even when panic buying hits. That's your window. Right now, you can buy a 5-pound bag at almost any Indian, Middle Eastern, or bulk grocery store for under $6. That's 55 servings of protein-rich, fiber-packed food. When the shelves are cleared of convenient options, dried chickpeas remain quietly available, nutrient-dense, shelf-stable, and extremely affordable. Cheap, long-lasting, and underappreciated. Dried chickpeas, our prepper's hidden gem. Number 10. Ghee. Clarified butter. That's right, real butter with all the milk solids removed. That one small change makes it shelf-stable. Unopened, a jar of ghee lasts over a year on the shelf. Opened, it keeps for months without going rancid. Fat is survival fuel. Your brain is 60% fat. You need it. Most long-term prepper foods have almost no fat because fat spoils. Ghee solved that problem beautifully. A 16-ounce jar costs about $10 and provides roughly 30 servings. That's just 33 cents per serving of pure, stable fat. Compare that to butter powder or freeze-dried butter, which can run $35 for a tiny can and taste like chemicals. Ghee is real food, tastes like butter, and is vastly cheaper. I keep 2 jars in my pantry at all times. I use it to fry eggs, cook rice, enrich soups, and finish vegetables. It adds richness and flavor to meals without any refrigeration. 3 years ago, I found a jar tucked in the back of my cabinet. It was over 2 years old. Still perfect, still buttery, still delicious. Ghee has been used in India for thousands of years precisely because it doesn't spoil, even in hot climates. It's a fat you can trust for emergencies. Shelf-stable, calorie-dense, nutrient-rich, and versatile. Here's the strategic advantage. People overlook ghee. It's not trendy. It's not marketed as survival food. It sits quietly in the international aisle or the health food section. During shortages, while freeze-dried powders and expensive substitutes vanish, ghee will often remain. Stock it now. Rotate naturally. Use it every day. And know that when refrigeration fails or fat-rich food is scarce, you got a dependable, high-calorie, long-lasting solution that actually tastes good. Ghee is simple, versatile, and overlooked. But in a pantry meant for long-term nutrition and survival, it's a quietly brilliant addition. Number 11. Dried fruit leather. This is the one nobody expects, and that's exactly why it's so valuable. I'm not talking about the brightly colored, sugar-coated rolls marketed to kids. I mean the real stuff. Fruit leather sold in the bulk section, health aisle, or specialty stores. It's simply dehydrated fruit puree, naturally concentrated, lightweight, and shelf-stable for months. Here's why it matters. A 1-pound package costs about $8 and provides roughly 20 servings. That works out to 40 cents per serving. Each serving is loaded with fast-digesting carbohydrates, natural sugars that your body burns quickly during stress or exertion. During emergencies, your glucose gets used up fast. Fruit leather delivers it instantly. I keep a dedicated stash for high-stress situations. During last year's wildfire evacuation, I grabbed my go bag, and the first thing my kids asked for was fruit leather. No prep required, no fuss, just energy on demand. It sustained them through hours of stress, heat, and activity. Compare this to freeze-dried fruit pouches. They can cost $20 for a tiny 2-ounce pack and often taste like cardboard. Fruit leather is real fruit, naturally sweet, flavorful, and satisfying. Lightweight and portable. It doesn't take up space or require refrigeration. Here's the strategic advantage. Fruit leather isn't marketed as survival food. Most preppers overlook it. Stores keep it stocked because it's seen as a snack, not an emergency item. That means during panic buying, it's often still on shelves while other high-priced survival foods vanish. Right now, you can walk into almost any grocery store and buy it without competition. Use it anywhere. A grab-and-go snack for your kids, a morale booster during evacuations, a quick energy source while hiking or in extended power outages. It's versatile, inexpensive, long-lasting, and highly effective. Shelf life is remarkable. When stored in a cool, dry place, fruit leather remains edible and palatable for months. Some homemade or specialty versions last even longer. It doesn't degrade like fresh fruit, and it's far easier to ration than candy or processed bars. The psychological aspect is underrated. During a stressful emergency, morale matters. A small sweet treat, real fruit flavor, no preparation, instant comfort. That's something freeze-dried fruit nuts or bland rations can't replicate. Your body gets calories, your brain gets satisfaction, and your family stays calm and energized. This is why fruit leather is an overlooked but essential pantry tool. Cheap, shelf-stable, high-calorie, morale-boosting, and widely available. It's the kind of item that quietly outperforms expensive or hype survival foods because it's practical and accessible. Stock a few pounds now. Keep them rotated naturally. Use them to supplement emergency kits, go bags, or everyday snacks. When power goes out, roads are blocked, or stores run dry, this simple, overlooked product becomes a lifesaver. Fruit leather is compact, inexpensive, and strategic. It's a morale and energy powerhouse disguised as a humble snack. Every prepper should have a stash. While everyone else is fighting over the same tired freeze-dried meals in 5-gallon buckets, you now know 11 items that are cheaper, easier to store, and will actually still be available when the panic buying starts. You are not just prepped, you are prepped smarter. Drop a comment and tell me which of these you're stocking up on first. I want to know. And next week, I am revealing the 7 prepper tools everyone swears by that are actually completely useless in a real collapse scenario. You do not want to miss that one. I will see you then.